Hello and welcome to Dental Studies Simplified. I am Dr. Ankita Kotecha and today's topic is host microbial interactions. I will be dealing with this topic under the following subheadings, that is bacterial colonization and survival and microbial mechanisms. Under bacterial colonization and survival, we have adherence to the host tissues, tissue invasion followed by bacterial evasion of the host tissue defenses. Okay, these are the microbial aspects of host microbial interaction. There is another topic, molecular aspects of host microbial interactions. Do let me know in the comment section below if you are interested in learning the molecular aspects of host microbial interactions. But for today's video, we will be learning microbial aspects, that is bacterial colonization and survival, and microbial mechanisms of tissue damage. So first thing, why is it so necessary to understand host microbial interactions? See, gingivitis, periodontitis or any less common periodontal diseases are usually chronic diseases, and the course and the extent of these diseases is determined by host microbial interactions. Now these interactions are mainly of two types, direct or indirect. Direct means the microbe will cause direct tissue destruction, tissue damage. Okay? And indirect means the microbe will induce or stimulate or manipulate, modulate the host defense response and cause the host defense mechanism molecules to produce the cell mediators, which in turn will cause the tissue destruction or injury. Clear? Direct and indirect. Now, these host microbial interactions vary from case to case, person to person, based on certain factors, mainly the type of microbe and the type of interaction that is occurring at the site, and the innate factors associated with the host, including the genetic factors, which is obviously variable from individual to individual. That is why the host response will be variable, and hence the host microbial interactions will vary from case to case or person to person. This further impacts the degree, the extent of host microbial interactions will determine the clinical manifestations or the varying patterns of the same disease but different clinical presentations. The answer to the different clinical presentations of the same disease, which is variable between patient to patient or case to case, is attributed to the variations in the host microbial interactions. Clear? This is the importance of understanding host microbial interaction, just to enable us to decode or understand the variation in the clinical patterns or behavior or the disease presentation variations. Clear? Now coming to the main point, that is bacterial colonization and survival. See, in brief, under bacterial colonization survival, we have these three steps. The first two steps ensures that the bacteria is able to colonize the cavity, and the last step ensures that it leads to successful colonization. Just mere colonization is not enough for the pathogen. It should be able to bypass, to neutralize or to evade the host defense that are targeted at eliminating them, thereby ensuring successful colonization and a longevity to cause the disease activity. Clear? We'll talk about each step one by one. First step is adherence. Please pay attention. Under first step, the first point is the sulcus and the pocket. They are the most important intraoral niche for any microbe to colonize and survive. Okay. Now these pockets, these sulcus are regularly bathed in gingival clavicular fluid flow, and this flow may lead to their displacement. So, in order to avoid that displacement by GCF flow, these bacteria must adhere to a surface. Now, what are the surfaces available? There are three main surfaces. The tooth surface, the tissues, that is the epithelial cells, fibroblasts or the connective tissue components, and the last is pre-existing plaque mass. Okay? These are the three possible surfaces available for the bacteria to adhere. Now I will give you an example of each one of them. With tooth, the main and the most common example is Actinomyces viscosus, which adheres to the tooth surface, be it pellicle or a saliva coated tooth surface. via fimbriae. Okay. So we have actinomyces viscosus via fimbriae. Remember these components. Clear? Under tissue we have epithelial cells and fibroblasts. Now P. gingivalis is the most common example of adherence to the tissue components. So with epithelial cells and the fibroblast, it adheres to them via fimbriae, and with the connective tissue components it adheres via membrane proteins. So the most common example, P. gingivalis, again via fimbriae or membrane proteins. Clear till now? See, these two examples are direct adherence to the surfaces. Now when we discuss the third surface, pre-existing plaque mass, the adherence mechanism here is different from these two. How? Because here the adherence mechanism is not between the microbe and the surface. It is rather intermicrobe adherence, that is called co-aggregation, and the most common example is between A. viscosus and Streptococcus sanguis via fimbriae again. And the next example is Porphyromonas gingivalis and F. nucleatum, Fusobacterium nucleatum, via proteins and via fimbriae. Clear till now? And this property of adherence is suggestive of, is representative of their virulence factors. With the help of these virulence factors, these microorganisms are able to adhere to these tissue surfaces or tooth surfaces or the plaque mass. Clear till now? I'll repeat once again. Adherence mechanism is essential to ensure their colonization. Primarily colonization, nothing else. So to colonize and prevent their displacement by the GCF flow in the sulcus or pocket, they must adhere to the surfaces. The available surfaces are tooth surface, that is saliva coated or pellicle, tissue surface, that is either epithelial cells, fibroblast or the connective tissue components, and the pre-existing plaque mass. With the tooth, the example is A. viscosus via fimbriae. With the tissue, we have P. gingivalis, which adheres to the epithelial cells and fibroblasts via fimbriae, and to the connective tissue components via membrane proteins. And with the pre-existing plaque mass, the adherence mechanism is co-aggregation between the different bacterial species, mainly between A. viscosus and S. sanguis, or P. gingivalis and F. nucleatum via fimbriae and via proteins respectively. So this completes the portion adherence mechanism. This ensures the initial colonization of the bacteria, nothing else. The next step to ensure this colonization is tissue invasion, that is nothing but entry into the host tissues. Till now they are at the surface, adhering to them. Now they have to enter the tissues, the cells. Okay, clear till now? Next we will discuss the host tissue invasion. Under tissue invasion, we have two main routes of tissue invasion: direct entry into the host cells or via ulcerated epithelium. And the examples of the periopathogens that carry out the invasion are Aggregatibacter actinomycetum comitans, Porphyromonas gingivalis, Treponema denticola and Fusobacterium nucleatum. And the importance of invasion is mainly, it is a key feature to distinguish a pathogenic strain from non-pathogenic strain. After tissue invasion, the bacteria are able to colonize themselves, localized within the tissues from where they can perform their disease activity, that is release of the toxic molecules and the various host microbe interactions. Clear? And the third point is, bacteria when tissue invaded, that is present within the tissues, will be persistent in the tissues, thereby providing a reservoir for further recolonization or future recolonization. So this is the importance of this step, that is tissue invasion. So summarizing these two steps, that is adherence and invasion, it determines the ability of the bacteria to colonize the cavity. Just colonize. The next step is evasion of the host defense mechanisms, which enables them to have a successful colonization by neutralizing or evading the host defense mechanisms which are targeted at their elimination or killing. So the next step is tissue evasion. We will discuss this step by first understanding what are the various host defense which they may evade. One by one. So the various host defense mechanisms we may face are basically from the immunoglobulins, from polymorphonuclear leukocytes, lymphocytes, or from the cell mediators, mainly interleukin 8, that is a potent chemokine. And now we will understand what was the host defense that was supposed to be performed and how these bacteria evaded them. So immunoglobulins, basically what they do the activity of opsonization assisted phagocytosis or prevent their adherence. Now what P. gingivalis does, P. gingivalis will produce gingipains, their virulence factors, which in turn degrades immunoglobulins. Okay. So this is the first example of host defense mechanism evasion by the bacteria, that is P. gingivalis. Next we have polymorphonuclear leukocytes. Now bacteria such as Agrigetibacter actinomycetum comitans will produce their virulence factor, that is leukotoxin. The name itself suggests leukotoxin, that is they will destroy these leukocytes. Just an example, there are many more to it. I am just giving one example to each of the host defense mechanism evasion. Next we have lymphocytes. For lymphocytes, again Agrigetibacter actinomycetum comitans will produce same leukotoxin and one more cytolethal distending toxin, CDT, and which will in turn kill them and impair their activity. Similar examples are also available with Porphyromonas gingivalis and F. nucleatum. And the last mechanism, host defense mechanism evasion, is interleukin 8. If you remember clearly, this mechanism evasion is already discussed in my previous video on keystone pathogen hypothesis. This mechanism of evasion of host defense is a keystone pathogen mechanism used by Porphyromonas gingivalis to cause periodontal disease. I will repeat once again. Interleukin 8 is a potent chemokine. That means it sends signals to the neutrophils to arrive at the site of injury and form the wall of defense. But what P. gingivalis does, it produces serine phosphatase, which will inhibit or block the synthesis of interleukin 8. So interleukin 8 is then synthesized. So neutrophils won't get signals to arrive at the site of the injury to form the defense wall, thereby preventing or delaying the wall formation. And that is how P. gingivalis will get away with the neutrophil mediated killing. So this is the chemokine paralysis mechanism of host defense, that is evasion of the host defense. So these are the various examples of the host defense and the mechanism of evading those host defense. So this completes the topic evasion of the host defense mechanism. So till now we have discussed bacterial adherence followed by invasion and the last step evasion. The difference between the first two and the last mechanism steps are, the first two steps altogether ensures colonization of the bacteria, but the last step ensures successful colonization, because by evading the host defenses that are targeted at killing them or their elimination, they will ensure their longevity, their persistence in the oral cavity in the host for a longer duration and cause the disease activity. Clear till now? Bacterial colonization and survival is complete till now. Next we will discuss the microbial mechanisms of tissue damages. Now again, if you remember at the beginning of the video, I introduced the chapter as host microbial interactions are of two types. Direct, that is microbes will cause direct tissue injury, or indirect, that is microbes will induce the host cells to produce cell mediators, which will in turn cause the tissue injury. So same thing applies here. The microbial mechanisms are of two types, either direct or indirect. We will understand what are those virulence factors or those bacterial byproducts or substances produced with the help of which they cause the tissue destruction. Again, direct. So under direct we have a variety of molecules, but the most important molecule that acts in the direct microbial mechanism, that is enzymes. We have enzymes, mainly proteolytic enzymes, but the wide array of molecules that are produced as bacterial byproducts or the substances to cause tissue destruction will be able to destroy almost any host tissue, any host cells. Okay. But the main example is enzymes, especially the proteolytic enzymes by Porphyromonas gingivalis. Example, collagenase or the trypsin-like enzymes. So they will be able to destroy the collagen and the fibronectin. Clear? So this is one example of direct tissue injury, that is proteolytic enzymes by P. gingivalis. Example, collagenase or trypsin-like enzymes, that is gingipains. And under indirect microbial mechanism we have, but before that there is a connecting point between the two. See, as we discussed, there are enzymes, that is proteolytic enzymes. The example which we discussed, collagenase, is also getting confused with the host tissue, host cell produced collagenase. Collagenase is also produced by host. So which collagenase did the disease activity, whether it was pathogen derived or host derived, is yet to be decoded. So that is why this mechanism came into the picture, that is indirect tissue damage via cell mediators. So maybe it is possible that P. gingivalis induced the host cells to produce those proteolytic enzymes. One example is the common between the two, that is collagenase. The others such are elastase or matrix metalloproteinases. So this is how indirect mechanism of microbial mechanism of damage comes into the picture. That is example, elastase, collagenase or matrix metalloproteinase, abbreviated as MMPs. So these are the two main mechanisms, microbial mechanisms of host tissue damage, direct and indirect. Directly is the pathogens will produce these proteolytic enzymes mainly. There are many more molecules or other substances to it, but the main is enzymes, that is proteolytic enzymes by P. gingivalis, to name, that is collagenase or trypsin-like enzymes, which will cause the host tissue damage, that is collagen and fibronectin respectively. And the indirect mechanism is these microorganisms will induce the host cells to produce these enzymes such as elastase or matrix metalloproteinases, which will further carry out the tissue degradation or tissue injury process. So this is all about microbial mechanisms of tissue damage. I will briefly summarize the entire topic before I end the video. Host microbial interactions of two types, direct and indirect, that is directly causing tissue injury and indirectly by inducing or modulating the host defense. Under bacterial adherence, we have three main surfaces, tooth, tissues and pre-existing plaque mass. And under invasion, we have two main routes, direct entry into the cells or by ulcerated epithelium. And the importance of tissue invasion, it is a key feature to distinguish pathogenic strain from non-pathogenic one. Second is the localization within the tissues ensures them to carry out their disease activity more thoroughly. And the third step, the third point in tissue invasion is persistence of the bacteria within the tissues provides reservoir for recolonization. And under evasion, we have the various mechanisms of host defense evasion by immunoglobulins, that is P. gingivalis will produce gingipains. For polymorphonuclear leukocytes, we have Aggregatibacter actinomycetum comitans producing leukotoxins. For lymphocytes, we have again Aggregatibacter actinomycetum comitans producing leukotoxin and cytolethal distending toxin, that is CDT. And for the interleukin 8, the entire phenomena of local chemokine paralysis by P. gingivalis. And under microbial mechanisms of tissue damage, we have again two types, direct and indirect. For direct, that is pathogen derived enzymes mainly, such as collagenase or trypsin-like enzymes by Porphyromonas gingivalis, which will destroy or damage the host tissues. And indirect is the pathogens will induce the host cells to produce enzymes such as elastase or matrix metalloproteinases, which will cause the tissue destruction. So this completes the microbial aspects of host microbial interaction. Do let me know in the comment section below if you are interested in learning the molecular aspects of the host microbial interaction, which deals with the toll-like receptors and the pattern recognition receptors, etc. And I hope this topic is clear to you and this helped you. Please let me know if you still have any doubts or any queries. Ask them in the comment section below or mail them at dentalstudiessimplified@gmail.com. Thank you for watching and listening to me. Study well. Have a good day. Stay safe.